Hello everyone and welcome to Career Day. Career Day is an initiative by Tusa. We believe that information empowers people. Our professional this week is Cecilia Marule, a young lady from South Africa who is an advocate of the High Court. Cecilia will share her story with us from how she moved from being a candidate attorney to a practicing and qualified advocate. If you like this video, remember to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our amazing series. Remember to share with your friends, as this could be helpful to them as well.
Hi, my name is Cecilia Marule and I am 30. I am an advocate and a member of the Johannesburg Society of Advocates. I was admitted as an advocate of the High Court on the 1st of March 2016 and became a member of the Johannesburg Bar on the 5th of December 2016. I was born in Phalaborwa, Limpopo, South Africa, and subsequently moved to Pretoria, South Africa, where I attended primary school, high school, and university. And now I am practicing in Johannesburg. My career choice is very short and sweet. I have always known I wanted to become a lawyer. My father is a lawyer, my uncle is a lawyer, and I have always been part of public speaking and debating. It just felt natural for me to go into this career. I don't have a day or a moment where it clicked for me. I just have always known that is the career path I wanted to take. It was only in grade 10 though, which is when you're about 16 years old, that I was resolute and final on my decision to study towards being a lawyer. I went to Loreto Convent School in Pretoria, South Africa. The school is very central in town. It is a girls-only school, and it was such a shocker being in a girls-only school, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Because by the time we had to choose grade 10 subjects, I already knew which degree I wanted to study, and I already knew the university requirements for that degree. I was strategic in choosing the subjects for grade 10. I knew that it was not necessary for me to study, for example, accounting or biology. So I chose subjects that will allow me to still get a high APS. I, however, still wanted to keep my options open in case I decided that law would not work out. So I still took mathematics, accounting, and business studies, as well as computer applications technology, CAT. Amongst those, I felt like business studies for me was pretty reasonable to easy, as well as CAT. So those two would still allow my marks to be fairly high, which would allow me to get a good APS for university entrance. At the end of my matric, my highest marks were English, business studies, CAT, and life orientation. I noticed early on that the university entrance for LLB was not as specific and strict as, for example, medicine or actuarial sciences, where you might need to have mathematics or science. However, the APS required was still quite high. So it was important for me to choose subjects that were manageable and where I could guarantee marks in the 70s and 80s so that my APS was high enough to allow me to get a university entrance. After high school, the one subject I appreciated the most was English. In the LLB degree, we did a lot of reading, a lot of interpretation, and a lot of application. In fact, you will find that majority of the time we lost a lot of marks and a lot of time simply because we couldn't understand, interpret, and apply what was just simple text. And depending on where you study, you might be studying in a different language. But at the University of Pretoria, I studied in English. And I realized the advantage that came with having done English as my home language, and also putting a lot of effort in learning how to read and how to enjoy reading for pleasure while in high school. I also noticed how this might be unfair to students who did not study English as a home language and probably only as a first additional language, or maybe not even at all. So, as already mentioned, I did my LLB degree at the University of Pretoria. While in high school, we were lucky enough that the school organized for various varsities to come to our school and give us a career day. So they explained admission processes, the fees required, closing dates, as well as the various careers and courses that they offered. So I applied to the University of Pretoria, University of Johannesburg, and University of the Witwatersrand to do my LLB degrees. However, I included other options in case I was not accepted for LLB, or in case I decided to no longer want to study towards my LLB. And as second option, I think I had a mathematics course, as well as political sciences. I was, however, lucky enough to have been accepted for LLB at all institutions, and I chose to go with the University of Pretoria because it was close enough to home and because I had already been accepted for residence at the university. I went straight into LLB. Some people went through with their BCom law first and then only doing their LLB, and others did their BA law degrees before doing their LLB. The degree is a 4-year degree. I, however, completed my degree in 5 years. And this was because in my 3rd year, I had done badly in a few subjects and I would have to carry them into my 4th year. But I decided that trying to push all those subjects into 1 year, while it might help me complete my degree much quicker, it might leave a bad record on my academic record. And so I might have a lot of mediocre results, which might hinder my job application process. So I decided to take my 3rd year and 4th year modules and split them into 2 years, which would allow me to fully focus in on the various modules. At the time, I think a lot of people did not understand my reasoning, but it worked out because by the end of that, I had multiple distinctions, and which allowed me to obtain a few job offers where I would be asked how come it took me 5 years to complete my degree, but I would always have a reasonable answer. And fortunately for me, my results would assist me because there were various distinctions on my academic record. I was lucky enough that my parents had saved up money for me to study in university, but I was even more lucky in that towards the end of my degree, in fact, in my final year, I applied for a bursary with ESCOM, and I went through a adjudication process and interview process where I was then accepted and a bursary was given to me to complete my degree. The bursary covered my tuition, my textbooks, a laptop, as well as accommodation. And these would then assist me in completing my degree. It is important to note that while my parents saved up money from, I guess, when I was much younger, the rate of inflation could not have been thoroughly calculated. So the money that was saved for me ended up not being sufficient to help me graduate. I recognize, though, that I was still much more fortunate than others. My current work is mainly based in the office and in court. So a client would come to us and say that they need assistance. They are being evicted from their home, for example, and they need us to stop the eviction from happening. And so we would draft papers and petition the court to basically allow the person to stay in their house because they don't have alternative housing or because they have been paying their rent and the homeowner basically has missed the payments, for example. So my main job is to appear before court and basically represent clients and fight for them. Due to COVID, I'm currently working in between my office and my home, and a lot of our appearances are done on either Teams or Zoom meetings. So from when I wake up until around lunch, usually I will be drafting papers or doing a lot of administrative part of my work. And around 10 o'clock, if I have court, 10 o'clock, I'm in court. And depending on how long the case takes, it could be until 4 o'clock. Usually after lunch is when we have a lot of meetings, or just around lunchtime. So a lot of consultations take place around then because that's when people are out of court or can drive to other people's offices. So from around lunchtime, we have a lot of meetings, consultations, pre-trials, and stuff like that. I thoroughly enjoy my career. It is matched up with my personality. What I like about it is that you really could be helping a person who is very desperate. On the one day, what I don't like about it is that it puts a lot of pressure on the lawyer. Unfortunately, we can only ever argue in court based on the facts and based on the information that has been given to us and the circumstances before us. So the one part that is completely disheartening is seeing somebody who you think deserves to be helped, but unfortunately, either because of the rules or because they have come to the court late or because they have not been honest or they have not been following procedure, that person can no longer be helped. And it is very sad to see people being kicked out of their homes or people not receiving the help that you think human beings deserve. The court can only ever help to a certain extent, and the court does not choose who deserves it more. The court is very sympathetic, but it's also very strict. What I find to be amazing about being a lawyer is that you get to play different roles. You can on one day help out somebody who is being evicted from their home, and the next day help out a child that is in a bad environment, and the next day be involved in some of the biggest constitutional matters, or in a big commercial transaction dealing with millions, and the next day be in a medical field. So being an expert in litigation and law allows you to also play in other fields. And I think that's the most amazing thing about this career. My profession is everything I thought it would be and so much more. I'm so grateful to have chosen this path. In fact, I thought I would be an attorney, and to end up being in front of amazing judges and amazing courts has been such a dream come true. In terms of salary of an advocate, so advocates charge per hour, and this can be at a starting rate of 500 Rand per hour, and 5,000 Rand a day. My first pay was when I was a candidate attorney, and realistically, I took my family out to dinner, but I also needed work clothes and just things that would help me for work. Like I needed to pay for petrol, I needed to look smart for work. So it was very practical. I went and did my hair. I got more work clothes, things like that. So I would have loved to give the money to my parents like you're supposed to. But I also recognized that I needed to look more professional, because that's the part of starting work they don't tell you about, that you actually don't have enough work outfits for the week and for the month. My career can lead me to be one of the senior counsel or advocates in the country, and to becoming a judge, and the highest judge being the Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court, who is currently Mogoeng. And I think, getting to that level would be amazing. And that is definitely one of my biggest dreams. To young people starting their careers, I would advise them to look at what they enjoy, what makes sense economically, what is needed in your country, or in your city, where people are being hired currently. So look at where there is room for new people. I always give the example that I think HR or human resources or human capital degrees are amazing. However, companies don't generally have a department of 50 people in one office all working in the human resource department. So you have to be strategic when choosing careers. It has to be something that you enjoy and love, but it has to be something that also is needed economically. So it's important to look at that, look at whether you qualify to study that particular degree or qualification, whether it's something that you know that you can do, and or if you are willing to learn to do. And then most importantly is to be strategic and to play and to be smart about it. So like I said, I knew there was no need for me to get science as a subject, because my degree did not need me to have science, and I didn't enjoy science. So I didn't take science up, but instead I did computer literacy, which I still use those skills today, but allowed me to get a distinction, which allowed me to get into varsity. So being a hard worker is important, but being a smart worker is equally important. And then ultimately, just continuously working hard and dreaming bigger and bigger and bigger. That's it. I think nothing surpasses hard work. This was an incredible experience. Thank you so much, and good luck to all the young people choosing careers and studying and working hard and applying for jobs. I hope this was helpful and that you take something from this for the rest of your life.